Hey, what's up, everyone? And I hope you guys are having an awesome Monday night. Just want to say welcome to episode one of A to Z Monstrous Motivation. I should probably figure out how to say that right after my workout and say it even without any breath in my lungs. I just got done with today's workout. It was upper fix. That thing was crazy. Always gets you. So never doubt. A little lady, she still has the capability of pushing you. But I wanted to talk to you guys about, every Monday night, I wanted to talk to you guys about some of my fears that I have, specifically regarding how it is that I stay motivated, with my workouts, with my fitness, with being the healthiest version of myself, striving to do that every day, and then also with my business, how it is that I show up every day to not only just work full time on my job, but to also work part time on my fortune, the fortune that I'll be making through the Beachbody company. So, as a Beachbody coach. So, first of all, let's talk about my fitness. How do I stay motivated? Where do I find such motivation to show up every day, or to show up more often than not? And and if you haven't noticed, A to Z, Monsters Motivation, it doesn't necessarily stand for my initials, even though it is Adrian Zavala. I just want to go through the letters of the alphabet because I have so many fears. If you didn't know this about me, I have a lot of fears, and I think I was almost borderline anxious, with anxiety, not disorder, but just like anxious to where that was my life, and I was always worried and stuff. Um, so yeah, I have a lot of fears, and I mean, I can go through a litany of fears. Today, I'm only gonna focus on one, and it's gonna be simple because this letter applies to both my motivation for health and my motivation for the business. And the letter it's the letter A, and it's for absence. The absence, it really fuels my fears. It is a monstrous fear that I have, monstrous fear, if that's a word. Absence. When it comes to my health, man, I just think about how I might be absent from my family. I've seen accidents where people get into, and they come out of those things where they're either, and this isn't a rule of law, right? This isn't how it works. For all I know, God did His own thing in there, but people come out of accidents and their recovery time is so much less than it is for the average person because they're already in great shape. They're already in great shape, and I've seen people who come out of these accidents, and yeah, I mean, God had a big role in it, but I think if it wasn't for their health and fitness, they wouldn't have made it. One of them that is really close to my heart is my dad. I can't say he's he's the healthiest of them all. Not at all. He's really he's an amazing man. And he loves his tortillas. He loves his beans. He loves his what else does he love? His carne, right? He loves all that good stuff. His meat and beans. Like, that's just how I grew up. Meat and beans, like steak and beans, baby, and some cheese. But he's always been in construction, so he's always been, tough like a, construction man worker. So he actually fell 40 feet through a roof earlier this year. 40 feet. I mean, that, people die just falling 10 feet off a roof. You know what I mean? 10 feet. If a roof is 10 feet, maybe it's 12 feet. But anyway, actually, maybe it's 15 feet. But who knows? The thing is, he did fall about 40 feet off a roof, and that really had us worried for a while. He's walking, and he's got a little cane, he's got a little body brace, to help him with support and everything. But I really think that because of how he stayed in shape, throughout the years, to get the job done, I think it has a lot to do with how he came out of that. Alongside with God's providence. So that was just, another testament to me as to how much health could play a role in our life, could play a role in our lives. And I actually think that he would have been better off now. if he was actually in even better shape, you know? If his stomach was stronger, maybe it would be less strenuous on his, you know, his back, his lower back. You know, things like that. So that's one of the that's the thing that really motivates me, and if it fuels me with fear, fear to get it done and to show up, to get my workouts done. The fear of absence. I don't want to be absent from my loved ones because I fail to show up for 30 minutes and, you know, get my sweat session on. I think that's almost selfish, to be honest. So now on to my business. Absence. How does absence fuel me with fear to show up for my business? Well, absence, man. Where do I even start? This has actually something to do with my dad as well. My grandma, it's gonna be almost a year since we lost her, and we lost her, and it was she had a lot of things going on, a lot of health issues, but I think a lot of it had to do with diabetes, and you know, a lot of it had to do with diabetes, with those symptoms that come from it. And I think one of them just, I won't even get, I don't want to get into detail, but she passed away, right? And she had diabetes, and I think a lot of it had to do with it. So how the absence fuels me to show up for my business. I want to show up. Okay, let me back up. I got sidetracked and getting emotional. When I was watching my grandma being buried, and I watched my dad, I watched my grandpa, and they embraced each other and they held each other at that time, I saw how much love there was between them, but I saw a great level of pain for maybe not being able to be there, more with her, both like father, I mean like husband and like son for my grandma, to be there with her, because they were taking care of things at work, right? They were getting the job done, so they weren't being bad sons. You know, he wasn't being a bad son and he wasn't being a bad husband. They were being amazing people and amazing men. And I'm sure my grandma would times that by 10. But they were busy getting the job done every day, day in and day out. Hard worker. That's what I love about my dad, and that's what I love about my grandpa. The work ethic is amazing. But they were working so much, and when I saw them embrace each other as my grandma was being laid down to rest, I just saw a great level of pain for being absent, in those extra times they could have been there if they weren't so dang busy taking care of things. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that in the way that, you know, that's the way it was for them. And how that applies to my business, well, I have a business where I can be there for my family. I can be here for my wife. I can be here for my kids. My kids don't have to grow up knowing what it's like to have a dad that, you know, leaves before they're up, and then a dad that comes home 2 to 3 hours after the kids are home from school, and then only gets daddy and kid and daddy or playtime with daddy for, I don't know, 3 hours maybe, because then there's homework, then there's dinner, you know, then there's the bills or whatever. Like, my kids don't have to grow up with that. They don't have to grow up with that absence, and neither does my wife or my loved ones, because I can work from home. And so it shows up. It fuels me with fear to be absent. So it fuels me. It fuels me with motivation. The fear motivates me. I promise I'll get this straightened out before I get to the letter Z. It motivates me to show up because I don't want to be absent in their life the way that my dad and the way that my grandpa had to be absent because they were getting the job done. In my grandma's life, in my mom's life, in my own life, in my brother and my sister's life. I just, it fuels me. The fear motivates me. And so that's it, guys. Does the fear of absence motivate you at all to show up and get your workout done, or to be your the healthiest version of yourself? I think that fear is a good thing. Fear is a good thing if you use it. Fear is not supposed to jail you in. Fear is supposed to simply serve you as a sign to show you that you need to be courageous. So it's just an opportunity. Every time fear knocks, it's actually opportunity for courage to show up. So that's what it is. And it's powerful. So if you use it right, I think it can push you through life in the right way. Kind of like the fear of God, right? The fear of God. You better fear God. They say it's the beginning of all wisdom. But that's it, guys. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in to episode 1. The letter A for absence. And I hope you have an awesome Monday night. I'm gonna be doing this every Monday. So it's gonna be at least 23 of them, right? Unless they add an extra letter to the alphabet. But okay, guys. I hope you have a good night. Peace.